There's a few things in this world that I actually really love. Sushi, pizza, Tekken, kayaking, traveling, and great pro wrestling. Then there's a few things I don't like in this world. Pro wrestling fans. And where is the absolute worst place to find pro wrestling fans? On pro wrestling Twitter. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a bit of a hypocrite. I spend at least a few hours a day, maybe, looking on pro wrestling Twitter for news reports and just funny posts in general, and then I end up finding something that just makes you want to log out of Twitter for the rest of the night. But then from time to time, there are some posts where I'm like, I'm a quote tweet that. That was actually pretty good. So I figured for the sake of some YouTube content, why don't I screenshot some pro wrestling Twitter posts that I actually like and do a reaction to it in a YouTube video. I don't know anybody else is doing it, so let's fucking do it. So I've been screenshotting some tweets for the last 2 to 3 weeks, and I feel like I've found a good crop of ones I wanted to talk about here. AJ Styles can't wrestle, and he has no good matches. Yeah, okay. First of all, this is a straight up lie. I don't know a single person on the face of this planet who has ever said AJ Styles does not have good matches. As a matter of fact, I don't even know if I could think of a bad AJ Styles match. This is one of those tweets that belongs in fact or cap. And I think it definitely belongs in cap. Like, bro, I know you don't believe what you just said, but okay. Evolution. Did I do it right? Evolution is a mystery. If AEW Full Gear 2020 had a crowd, do you think it would have topped Revolution 2020? No. Revolution 2020 to this day I believe is the best show AEW has ever put on. Like, outside of those 2 matches in like the Jake Hager versus Dustin Rhodes and Chris Statlander versus Nyla Rose, every match on the card top to bottom was good or above. Like, I would even say most of the matches on that show were great. I don't think you could get any better than Revolution 2020. Now, I get where they're coming from. Full Gear 2020 did have a really good card, and I think that from some aspects, yes, it might have suffered from not having an authentic crowd reaction. But sometimes you can even have a great match without having a crowd. And there was a crowd there. It was a manufactured crowd. It was, you know, the AEW roster. But there were crowd reactions for this show. So it's not like it was a complete silent show like 2020 Double or Nothing. You know what I mean? And I'll be honest, up until this post, I kind of forgot about Full Gear 2020. Like, I'm literally looking at the card right now, and I remember all these matches happening, but they are not, like, incredibly memorable. At least in my opinion. I don't know. What do you guys think? Comment down below. Wrestling fans tend to forget sports entertainment is what made wrestling what it is today. Not denying that pure wrestling isn't important, but sports entertainment should always be held to a higher priority by wrestling promotions, especially for mainstream attention. This is where we get into the debate of sports entertainment versus pro wrestling. I think what he means by this is that, you know, production-wise, pro wrestling benefits more when we have more promos, higher scale editing and facets in terms of, I don't know how else to describe it, but I know what they mean by sports entertainment over pro wrestling. And I think they go hand in hand. I don't think it's really just one method or the other, because yes, I think if we're just basing it off of, you know, WWE main roster sports entertainment, that has its own audience and it panders to the hardcore wrestling fans nowadays who've been, like, you know, acquainted with that style, who grew up with that. But at the end of the day, I think that also the hardcore wrestling fan is going to want great wrestling. Like, they're going to prioritize pure in-ring talent over, oh, let's have 18 promos on a show and no wrestling. Like, if you ask me, I would rather have 1 hour of wrestling and like 2 promos than 1 hour promo and 2 matches. Like, that's just how I see it. But I think it differs from person to person. There's no really objective answer to this question. It's really just more so, where do you fall? And I fall more on the end of being pro wrestling over sports entertainment. And I'm not discounting at all the fact that there should be promos and, you know, at least somewhat scale editing, but I would much rather prefer a great wrestling match as opposed to, I don't know, would I prefer a great wrestling match over a great promo? Ooh, that's a difficult one. What do you guys think? Great wrestling match or great promo? Comment down below. Being a move guy, there's just some moves that should not be finishers, especially today. I mean, I guess it depends on what exactly do you mean by there are some finishers that, like, you know, some moves that should be finishers. Like, are you talking about like the lower end moves? Like, I don't know what he means by there's just some moves that should not be finishers. I think anything in wrestling can be a finisher as long as it's protected well. Like, think about the one-winged angel. Yeah, it's a great move to look at, but there's only been one person in history that has ever kicked out of it. I guarantee you that if somebody were to, like, you know, get the blessing of Jake the Snake Roberts and started doing the DDT and nobody kicked out of the move for a solid year to 2 years, it would get over. Because even though a lot of people do DDTs, the way you protect and present a move to wrestling fans is the easiest way to get it over. And I feel like protecting moves is something that a lot of wrestlers don't do these days. And it's not just a matter of, oh, this person, I saw the comment about Anthony Gogo. Like, no, I think that at first when I saw Anthony Gogo do the one punch, I'm like, ooh, I don't know. But if a Gogo goes to Double or Nothing 2021, punches Cody, and that's the end of the match, and then for like the next few months or even a year, he can just end the match one punch, it will get over. I mean, look at the Judas effect. I don't think a lot of fans like the Judas effect at first because it's just a spinning elbow, but now people know that whenever Chris Jericho does that move, it's the end of the match. So I'm going to have to partially disagree with this move. It's all in presentation and protecting it. This is Chris Jericho's best singles match in AEW. Well, can I think of another one that's better than Chris Jericho versus Cody? You know what? I think I agree with this statement. Outside of his match with Orange Cassidy, like the very first Orange Cassidy match, and even that, I don't think I would say was a great match. I don't know if I can think of any other Chris Jericho matches that really... When I think about Chris Jericho singles matches in this current era, every single match I think about are his New Japan matches. Like his match with Kenny Omega, his match with Tanahashi, let's forget about his match with Okada, his matches with Naito. Like, those are all great matches. But then when you go to AEW, he doesn't really have a great surplus of like really good matches. But the Cody one does stick out to me, so I'll give you that one. I would agree. What is AEW's biggest problem in your opinion? Like, I like AEW, and I don't really try to harken on what is the bigger issue. Like, you know, absolutely when stuff comes up that I don't like, I'm going to point it out. I think their biggest issue right now is a tie of two things. Production, because there's a lot of times where we still have production issues where there's random cuts, they don't really focus on the right thing, picture-in-picture being done at the wrong time. Like, there's still a lot of issues they have, but, you know, you could chalk that up as they're still a newer company. They got to grow into that. Like, WWE's been around for like 20, 30 years, doing, you know, TV for 20, 30 years now. So obviously they're a bit more polished with it than AEW is. But I think the bigger issue they have is pushing themselves. And when I mean themselves, I'm talking about the elite. Kenny Omega, Cody, and the Young Bucks. I feel like we started off this All Elite Wrestling really building up around Cody, the Bucks, and Kenny Omega, which I understood because the elite was a very popular act and is still a very popular act in North America, and you want to build your company around those guys. But 2 years later, I feel like we're still building around Cody, Kenny, and Young Bucks. I mean, the Young Bucks are the tag team champions. Kenny Omega is the world champion. Cody is still in top tier matches every single week. And I feel like we got to this point where now there's not really too many other top guys that are not the elite. Like, how many top guys can you name me? And I'm not talking about your favorites. How many top guys can you name me that are not the four guys I just named to you right now? I feel like they haven't done a good job really establishing some newer faces. Like, they've established the newer faces, but not in top roles. And when they are in top roles, they are to lose to the elite. It starts to get to the point of self-indulgence and just wanting to put yourself over. And I feel like I definitely feel that way when I watch Cody Rhodes matches. And that's why I don't like seeing Cody Rhodes and haven't liked seeing Cody Rhodes for the last year and a half now. But this is an issue only they can resolve. And I like to believe that one day in the future, they'll get over themselves and start, you know, putting other guys in the main event scene. But I don't know if I'm really too confident in that, honestly. Hot take, Serena Deeb is the most important signing in AEW in 2020, and one of the most they ever did. I don't know what that means. She works as a wrestler, trainer, producer in AEW at the same, and all that on the top level. The aspect of being a trainer and producer only matters to a hardcore wrestling fan, so take that out of it and just be a wrestler. And I do agree, and I've said this in streams before, and I'll say it again, Serena Deeb is, bar none, one of, if not the best women's wrestler AEW has right now. Like, she puts on some of the best performances since she's been in AEW, since her first match with Thunder Rosa, her second match with Thunder Rosa, her match with Britt Baker, her match with Riho, her match with just about anybody. I feel like she brings the best out of her opponent, and I feel like a lot of people don't give her a lot of credit because she's holding a championship from another promotion, but Serena Deeb is out here and she is putting on the best matches possible. And when she gets a Double or Nothing and she puts on another great match with Riho, people gonna have to acknowledge her. Say her name, damn it. I've said it once and I'll say it again. If Kenny Omega beats Orange Cassidy and Pac this Sunday Double or Nothing, Serena Deeb should be next in line. I will pay good money to see Serena Deeb versus Kenny Omega for the AEW World and NWA Women's Championship. Double or Nothing. Shinsuke Nakamura should have won this match, that he would have been the king of strong styles.
Damn, fam. You got the whole chat laughing.
Caitlyn was such an underrated performer in WWE. Bro, oh my god. Up until I saw this post, I forgot all about Caitlyn. But yo, when Caitlyn was doing her thing, like 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, Caitlyn was so different because she was built like a brick house and she had the power moves. But it was weird because there was something about Caitlyn that just didn't stick. Like, I don't know what it was. Like, she had the capabilities and she wasn't at all ugly in my opinion. But there was something about her that just, I don't know. There was something about her that just, you were able to forget about her and she was able to fade into the background. But thinking about it now, yeah, she was hella underrated. Like, Caitlyn deserves so much more than the 3-4 year run that she had in WWE, honestly. If she ever came back to wrestling full time, I'd be in support of it. Cody says his contentious American Dream promo was workshopped and focus group tested. I really want to know who this group was focused towards. I don't know many black people out there that really love that promo. So, who was this focused towards again? Every soul contains a whisper of light, growing louder as it calls to you. This is one of those tweets that belongs in Fapper Cap. Oh my god. No. No. Oh god. I'm about to leave that in. No, I can't leave that in. I'm leave it in. Blooper or something. I don't know.